please subscribe and don't forget to press the bell icon to get notified whenever we upload a new video.
The Bajaj Avenger was the motorcycle that truly introduced masses in India to the concept of a cruiser motorcycle, being affordable, small, light and nimble. Over the years, Bajaj has worked consistently, improving the motorcycles to enhance the riding experience. And now, in its 2018 avatar, we have a new Avenger 180. Well, the 180 is where the journey began for the Avenger, but Bajaj says that this time around there's a whole lot of changes and the bike is a lot nicer to ride. And that's something that we are trying to find out right now. The engine on the new Avenger 180 is from the Pulsar 180 just like before, but this time around there's a lot more changes, Bajaj says, and it's in a slightly different state of tune, apart from which Bajaj has worked extensively on making it a lot more refined. Priced at about Rs 85,000 ex-showroom, the Avenger 180 is an interesting motorcycle. It replaces the smaller Avenger 150, so now you have some more performance thanks to the higher displacement, and the bike looks fresher thanks to all the visual changes for 2018. Considering how popular cruisers are with the masses, I think this motorcycle has a lot of potential to do well, considering how popular the Avenger family is overall in India.
There seems to be no real challenge for the Honda Activa, and the market seems to be moving on to better things. As far as I'm concerned, since these are 125s, they're a little bit faster, it's a better thing. The scooter under fire is the Suzuki Access, which dominates, and the latest challenger is the Aprilia SR 125.
Aprilia believes that while the response to the SR 150 has been incredible, there is the opportunity to attract a slightly more youthful customer with a product placed slightly closer to his expectations of price and performance. That product is the new SR 125. What Aprilia has done, in a sense, is scale down the SR 150 engine to displace 125cc. The gearbox is the same and the body panels are identical too, but there is a longer seat and these new graphics. What that means is that the scooter looks sleek, stubby and modern all at once. But you do notice that compared to the SR 150 and especially the race edition, the SR 125 is a little more subtle. And it comes in silver and this dark blue, again two calm colors. But the rest of the package is almost the same. That means the best parts of the SR 150 are still here. That would be the disc brakes, the V-rubber tires and yes, the 14-inch wheels.
The 125 gets the 14-inch wheels from the SR 150, and that makes a huge difference. These are the biggest wheels in the class and immediately it feels better around corners. Almost like a motorcycle really. However, I think they didn't retune the suspension from the SR 150 to this, and therefore this scooter is really stiff to ride. To the point where on the average Indian road where there are bumps and lumps, you will be uncomfortable.
What you will like though, and no surprise, is the engine. Like the SR 150 and the Vespas, come to think of it, the engine is happy to rev out to the max without any sense of undue strain. I saw well over an indicator 110 km an hour, while Anis, our photographer, who is much lighter than me, actually maxed the speedometer out 120 km an hour indicated. Then again, the 125 only loses half a horse and 1 Nm of torque to the 150 while pushing the peak outputs a bit further up the revs. What it means is the flow of thrust comes a little bit later when you open the throttle. What I do wish for is that Aprilia had given it the verve and vigor right off the bottom that makes riding the SR 150 such a pleasure. On the SR 150, when you open the throttle, the scooter shoots forward with intent. The SR 150 feels quite a bit milder, and that means you have to wait for the speed to come up before the engine asserts itself. That brings us to the price. The SR 125 is priced at Rs 65,600 ex-showroom Mumbai approximately. That makes it about 3,000 rupees less than the SR 150, and that gives me pause. The idea of a scaled down 150 is a good one, but I do think Aprilia had the chance to set up the 125 to be a little bit more compliant, and they haven't. The ride quality as a result is jittery, and anything other than smooth roads, you'll feel this. More importantly, the price difference to the 150 is so small that it makes me wonder who would take the 125 over the 150. The reason to buy the 125 over the 150 then would boil down to something like economy, or a parent's comfort level with a 125cc scooter which is perceived to be less powerful than a 150cc scooter. I do honestly wonder how this will play out. And of course, before we sign off, allow me to remind you that Aprilia showed not one but two 125cc scooters at the 2018 Auto Expo in Delhi. The SR125 is here now, and we wait for a road test unit to come to us. The SR Storm is to follow, and it will be here before the year runs out, perhaps as early as Diwali.
Royal Enfield is brightly colored and wears one of the most mysterious alphabets of the English language as the suffix to its name. Meet the Royal Enfield Thunderbird 500X.
So what's the Royal Enfield we've all been waiting for? Is it this one? I know you're going to talk about the 650 twins, right? But there is still some time before those motorcycles get here, and the new Royal Enfield right now is that. That's the Thunderbird 500X. Its little cousin, the 350X, also on sale. It's not here today, but we're going to find out what's under the skin. The story though, it's not complicated at all. That is a Thunderbird, and what's changed? We'll find out now. The Thunderbird was launched as a cruiserish motorcycle with chrome pods for instruments, big bars and a saucy purple color that I still remember. Many years later, the new 500 became a more focused touring model with a 500km tank and, my personal highlight, a stiffer front end that allowed you to push the bike harder in the twisties. The new 500X is an aesthetic variant based on the Thunderbird. The engine and frame haven't been altered in any way save for the factory-fitted alloy wheels. But the Thunderbird 500X aims to be a premium commuter, not a tourer. To achieve that goal, the 500X receives a new handlebar bend and a new seat design. So when you change a handlebar and a seat on a motorcycle, do you make a substantial difference? In the case of the Royal Enfield, there is definitely a change because the bar gives you more leverage, which means navigating city feels easier, you get more feedback from the front end, and at the same time, the grippier seat material locks you into place, and that's always a good thing on a motorcycle. Still not a fan of the way Royal Enfield does the dish seat though. In the city, not so much of a bother, but when that thing is the highway, I think most of us are going to have to find a way to make ourselves more comfortable. And the pillion seat, well, let's say that you're not going to make too many friends if you carry them around pillion for long distances. But Royal Enfield understands only too well that not everything is about function, and aesthetic appeal is a powerful force. So the styling department has made a few key changes that look great. The most obvious is color selection. The contrast of a brightly colored tank, you get them in orange, blue, white and red, against an all-black motorcycle is simultaneously hipster modern and genuinely retro. Many Thunderbird bits stay on, but the classy looking and almost hidden cast alloy grab rails add neatness to the lines, which the slimmer looking seat ties together nicely. And then there is, well no, we're done. That's the story of this bike. Royal Enfield wants to be the world's largest seller of middleweight motorcycles, and it wants to do this by selling easy, accessible motorcycles. Well, as stories go, I don't think you can do easier and more accessible than this, because that, in effect, is a Thunderbird. What Royal Enfield has added are the alloy wheels, factory-fitted alloys, that's always a good idea, and you pay 8,000 rupees more than a stock Thunderbird for the privilege. Should you be spending that money? Well, there's two things you need to decide. First is the aesthetic. There's a brightly colored tank and the rest of the motorcycle is black. Is that your favorite taste, or would you rather prefer the old Thunderbird's looks? The second, of course, is the ergonomics package. Do you want a pullback bar or do you prefer these flatter bars? That's really the decision you're making.